Hello, my name is Eddie.
My name is Brandon, and this is our speaker, Stephanie Cooper.
We all know that voting machines are used for the automatic registering of votes during an election, but do we really know much about them? Today I'm going to discuss the brief history of the voting machines, how they have made the voting process easier, and how available these machines really are throughout the United States. The first machine to be used was the lever booth automatic voting machine, created by inventor Jacob H. Meyer. The designer had stated that he designed this machine to protect mechanically the voter from rascaldom and make the process of casting the ballot perfectly plain, simple, and secret. The lever machines were considered the cutting edge of technology and made all other forms of voting obsolete. Eventually, AVM, or automatic voting machines, took over Meyer's company and made many improvements to the voting machine between 1929 and 1975. Unfortunately, due to the amount of parts that were required to continue with the lever machine, they weren't able to continue because it needed replacing and it did not have the ability to store the votes in the actual machine. From here, IBM in the 1960s came out with the punch card for the Votomatic machine. This card was punched with a stylus and fed through the machine. The machine counted and tallied the votes. This machine was used for a while until they discovered that the punches weren't always accurate during the tally. After this, we went to a mark sense ballot. The mark sense ballot was actually first used to score SAT scores. The way that it works is by sensing a graphite pencil marking on paper by their electrical conductivity. There were many other machines that followed the mark sense, each one more improved than the last. After the mark sense, there was the central count scanner, the Optec Eagle, the direct recording electronic voting machine, and an electrovote machine. Now that we've touched on a history of voting machines, let's discuss how they've made the voting process easier. According to votingmachineprocon.org, these machines are much faster and more efficient at counting the votes. They offer the voter a sense of privacy they didn't get with the Australian paper ballots. There are fewer chances for error. And according to the website, the machine dependably meets the rigorous demands of today's election procedures. I myself find it much easier to use these cards, and since politics is such a touchy subject when in a mixed company, it makes everyone feel more comfortable that they can secretly cast their vote. The last thing I want to talk about is how available these machines really are throughout the United States. These are just a couple of forms of voting, but two that I thought were the most pertinent for this subject. Availability of electronic voting machines in 1980 was at a mere 1%, while hand-counted paper ballots were at 10.5%. You see an increase in electronic voting machines in 2000 as they went up to 12.5%, and hand-counted paper ballots were down to 1.5%. In 2012's election, there was 39% availability of electronic voting machines and only 4% of hand-counted paper ballots. We expect to see these trends of the electronic voting machine continue to get higher, while the hand-counted paper ballots should be lower. Because we have electronic voting machines, we anticipate that all other forms of voting will be obsolete after so many years. In conclusion, a history of voting machines is a long one, with each machine being more improved than the last. Voting machines have made tallying said votes much easier, and it is a more efficient way to score votes. It saves time and helps voters feel more secure, has more privacy to offer. And lastly, as the years go by, with each new election, voting machines will make any other form of voting obsolete. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.